What's going on, guys? Jay the Black here. Shout out to everyone that's tuning in. I want to talk about Malika Andrews. Malika Andrews, she's going viral for a couple of different things. And we're going to discuss a couple of different reasons as to why people have been going in on her for the last couple of days. Now, I've spoken about Malika Andrews before. I think she is somebody who got her job based on who she knew and blew. That's just my belief, that's my belief. I'm not saying that's facts, but well, it could be facts, but that's an opinion just from everything I've seen. She's not somebody who was overly qualified for what she has. I believe she's just a melanated face to put on ESPN television. And she is somebody that has gone out of her way to create so much bad will. ESPN is already struggling to keep viewers, but Malika Andrews only makes it worse because she covers the NBA. She's assumed the role that Rachel Nichols had, even though Rachel Nichols actually stuck to basketball and actually didn't go out of her way to try to embarrass or shame or try to throw dirt on anybody's name. Rachel Nichols never did that, but she has. She did it with the new coach of Boston. I made a video about that. She's done it with a college basketball prospect by the name of Brandon Miller. Someone posted this on Twitter, and she was trending on Twitter, and it was because of her bringing up the fact that Brandon Miller was a teammate of a guy that ended up getting arrested and going to jail for shooting a female in Alabama, because Brandon attended University of Alabama. They're saying that he supplied the weapon, okay? But he's free. He's still able to pursue his basketball dream. And look at her once again trying to throw dirt on someone's name. That's what Malika does, because she don't really care about these players. She might speak some liberal talking points here and there, but we know what type of person she is. And let me not forget the situation with Jalen Rose. Y'all remember that Jalen Rose video when he was hugging her, and she said that, stop sticking your finger in her arm or some armpit or something like that. Now, I looked at the video. I didn't initially make a video because after looking at the video, I believe it was Richard Jefferson, but she never really pointed out who it was, and people believe it was Jalen Rose, and Jalen Rose wouldn't really comment. I think he subliminally spoke on it, but because people were saying he got fired. He didn't get fired. I think Jalen Rose is going to have a job there for life. So I don't think he's getting fired, but people believed it was Jalen and nobody said anything. When in fact, I believe it may have been Richard Jefferson putting his finger in her arm. By the way, her and Richard Jefferson have this weird dynamic on that NBA show. Just a very weird dynamic. Richard is a kind of a weird guy. But that is something that she went viral for. She just rubs people the wrong way. And I maybe that's just the fact that she's not very good at what she does. Maybe it's because she is basically a rookie that you putting in that spot. Yes, she did some sideline reporting, but hosting shows, like Rachel Nichols had to work years to get that. Stephen A. Smith would tell you he had to work years as an NBA beat writer to really get opportunities that he has at ESPN. But she got these opportunities very, very quickly. And the reason why I say she got these opportunities very quickly, because I opened the show and I talked about it was about who she knew in blue, because she was dating a veteran NBA reporter by the name of Dave McMenamin, right? She's a social climber. She knows the right people to know, right? And that's why I believe she has gotten these opportunities at ESPN. I don't think that she's overly talented. I think she does a serviceable job, but the woman continues to make mistake after mistake after mistake, and she needs to be checked for it. She does. Stephen A. Smith checked her when she really tried to get out of pocket with him. That's the type of person she is. She has no respect for black men who are her senior or black men in general. I really don't think she has. That's why it's easy for her to try to drag people's name through the mud. Brandon Miller had nothing to do with what that other basketball player did. And the fact that she tried to bring up what happened in that situation, I think was totally wrong. I think it was wrong, and she shouldn't have done it. Now let's get into this article from Fox. ESPN reporter Malika Andrews was the subject of some social media backlash on Tuesday after she asked NBA Commissioner Adam Silver about Ja Morant gun flashing video, which led to the Memphis Grizzlies star's latest suspension over the weekend. Silver appeared on ESPN as the San Antonio Spurs were awarded the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. Andrews asked Silver about his meeting with Morant after the Grizzlies guard was suspended the first time for flashing a weapon in a Denver nightclub. Honestly, I was shocked when I saw this weekend that video. Silver said, now we're in the process of investigating it and we're figure out exactly what happened to the best we can. The video is a bit grainy and all, but I'm assuming the worst. Yeah, it was what we saw it was. He said that he and Morant talked openly and honestly about the consequences that could stem from waving a weapon around. While the question seemed pertinent, given the situation, some NBA fans were not happy with it. Andrews faced some backlash on social media because it wasn't the right time for this. What do you think this is, TMZ? What do you think you work at? The New York Post or the New York Times? Like, seriously, are you an investigative reporter or are you an NBA reporter? Speaking on the NBA, the whole people don't want to hear about Ja Morant at the draft lottery, but she's trying to put herself over, that's a wrestling term, by speaking on this to get his comment, to be the first one to ask him publicly. That's what it's about. And ESPN hired this fool. She's going to get ESPN in trouble. See, this is the video clip here.
Because this is the second time in about 2 months that Ja Morant, the star of the Memphis Grizzlies, has been seen on social media brandishing a firearm. And before he was reinstated after his suspension last time, he flew to New York. He sat down. He met with you. What did you say to him about how much more severe it would be?
Now, let me say this. Some of y'all may say, well, maybe ESPN told her to ask him. Maybe. Or maybe not. We don't know. But we all know ESPN has no control over the people that work there, especially if you have a liberal viewpoint of everything. And she's in a position where they can't afford to lose another black female show host because they've already lost Maria Taylor and they need a black female face there. And she knows, even though she's biracial, she knows that she's in a position to get away with more, right?
If he did this again.
Well, we talked directly about the consequences first before we got to a subsequent potential to have done something wrong. We were very focused on the misconduct that was in front of us at the time. And frankly, most of our conversation was about how incredibly serious the first incident was of waving, a firearm on social media. And again, and the consequences there, an 8-game suspension was pretty serious and something that he, at least to me, seemed to take incredibly seriously in that time. And we spoke for a long time about not just the consequences that could have on his career, but the safety issues around it. Could have injured, maimed, killed himself, someone else with an act like that. And also the acknowledgement that, as you said, he's a star. I mean, he has an incredibly huge following. Yeah. And that my concern, and I thought he shared with me, that millions, if not tens of millions of kids globally would see him as having done something that was celebrating in a way. That act of using a firearm in that fashion.
Adam Silver knows that Ja Morant is next up. Ja Morant is next up as far as one of the young faces of the league, as a leader of that Memphis on court leader of that Memphis Grizzlies organization. That's why they kicked Dylan Brooks to the curb, because they know they got Ja Morant and they feel like they can build around Ja Morant. And the NBA, according to the NBA people, it's a star-driven league. It's a star-driven league. Ja Morant is a star, and they want to make sure he can continue to play for a very long time. And Adam Silver really don't want to punish Ja Morant. That's why they're announcing a suspension. It's the almost the off season. What's the off season for the Memphis Grizzlies? It is the Memphis Grizzlies off season. So because it's the Memphis Grizzlies off season, they announced this suspension. They're hoping that by the start of the season, things will blow over, right? That there's no controversies. They're hoping, right, that he can, play well. But again, Adam Silver does not want to punish Ja Morant. He really doesn't. He's relying on Ja Morant's star power, and he doesn't want to have to do anything. So you can see the apprehension. That's why I don't think this was really planned. It could have been, but I truly feel like they put her out there to say this. Maybe not ask him this, because again, we don't know. We don't know if she was asked to do this or this was something that she did. She thought it would be nice to ask them while they're all there, Let's look at some of the reactions. Malika Andrews, when it's time to bring up something negative about an NBA player. Malika Andrews couldn't wait to say Brandon Miller had a teammate who took the life of somebody. Why does Malika Andrews always speak on the downfalls of a black athlete while trying to credit them at the same time? Because that's that double speak. Now, speaking of credit, her sister is just as weird and I will say just as weird and goofy as she is, because she got called out by an NBA player for being a liar, for being a blatant liar. But does she still have a job at ESPN? I believe so. Malika Andrews got her sister a job. That's how much influence she has at ESPN. She got her sister a job who got called out by a player for being a liar. These are the type of people who are employed by ESPN. Even though one of them got called out for being a blatant liar, lying. These are the type of people who are, and ESPN wonders why no one wants to watch them. I don't even watch ESPN like that unless I'm watching a football game, or maybe they have a like the Last Dance type documentary, right? But other than that, who's really checking for ESPN like that? Maybe they're watching baseball or basketball, but I think TNT gets the better basketball games, but that's just me, The Grizzlies suspended Morant from all team activities as the NBA launched an investigation into the situation. The Athletic Shams appeared on the Pat McAfee show to put forth a dire outlook. He says there's concern around the Grizzlies that the NBA is going to come down hard on Ja Morant and that this is going to be potentially a serious suspension. I'm assuming so. I'm assuming that, it's really, that he really messed up this time. There's a lot of people commenting on Ja Morant, man. I made one video and kept it pushing. But a lot of y'all are making all these videos, you're going live or you're posting on your social media over and over and over, trying to be a social media counselor. This is a grown man. He needs tough love, and he needs people to be real with him. That's what Ja Morant needs. Ja Morant needs people to be real with him, all right? Malika Andrews not going to be real or anything, but he needs real people to talk to him and be in his ear offline. But as far as Malika Andrews, she's going to continue to do things to demonize the name of a black man, to make black men look bad, because she doesn't like black men. She doesn't. That's why she don't date them. She's a social climbing female who got a job because of who she knew and who she... I think y'all get the point. I think y'all get the point at this time. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. Make sure y'all like this video and share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll see y'all next one.